Hey everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Life and Fitness podcast. I'm Cheryl Patton.
And I'm Megan Prince.
We started this podcast as a way to connect with more people who are struggling to fit it all in. The workouts, the food, kids, work, and relationships.
We know that we're not perfect, but we hope that through our struggles and our mistakes and our failures and our successes that we can help more people through their challenges and be successful. So if you want some tips and tricks to help you along your journey to be the best version of yourself, then this is it.
So today we are going to talk about common traits that we have seen in fit and healthy people, and traits that we have seen in people that we know that have been training consistently for probably 10 plus years, and what has allowed them to get to that point and to keep going past that 10-year point. What is it that is common between them versus people that may start working out, get to say the 6-month mark, the 1-year mark, even the 5-year mark, and then all of a sudden we got dogs with toys, and then all of a sudden they just quit and never really get back into the swing of their training again, and sometimes even their nutrition. So I know one thing that I've always noticed and seen and heard is that their training is simply a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things that's booked in, just like they brush their teeth, just like they take their vitamins. It's a non-negotiable in their life, whether it's a non-negotiable 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, something, but it's always there. And it's there not necessarily because of the physical aspect of the training, but it's there because of the quality of life that they want to have as they get older. Right? Yeah.
I think when I was younger, though, I didn't really ever think about my quality of life when I was older.
No.
I think only turning 40 and stuff have I been thinking about, like, clients that I have. I look at them, and I have a 70-year-old client who I have to go over and shower her every week because she can't get in the tub. She's in a wheelchair. When I first met her, she couldn't transfer herself. Her husband was transferring her. Now she can, but then my mom's 67, 3 years younger, and she's out kayaking, and she's in the lake, and she's snowmobiling, and she's doing stuff. So now as I get older, and I can actually measure between somebody who, and then I watch my mom cook healthy meals, and she has vegetables, and I mean, she's not perfect, but then this other lady is like white bread, peanut butter and jam, muffins every morning for breakfast, and I can see the contrast now between two people that are almost the same age, and how as they get older in age, it's such a huge contrast. It's like insane of a contrast. And I always just make fun of my mom, and I'm like, well, Mom, like, you're doing so good because you're feeding yourself your own food and you can put yourself on the toilet. But I'm like, as a joke, but I'm like, no, but these things are real.
100%.
At 67, some people can't do that.
No.
They haven't moved, they haven't done anything for their whole life. So, I think that's like a huge thing. In the beginning, I never thought to myself, this is what it's going to be like when I'm older, and this is going to help me when I'm older. But now I see at 40 that I go to a trampoline park with my kids, and I can jump for 90 minutes with my kids. And I'm 40. Yeah. Where to me, I don't feel like I'm 40, but I can do that stuff with my kids, and I can still have energy and stuff. So that's the aspects now that I see about the physical activity are more based on my health now than they were back when I started, I would think.
I think everybody starts with they want to work out because you want to look better. Right. There's something about you that you want to change, and that's totally fine. But I think that reason needs to morph into something a whole lot deeper. And I agree, right? Like, I want to be able to be like 50, which is coming up sooner than later, and be able to do whatever I want and not be restricted or limited in what I'm able to do. Right? I think another thing too is another huge common trait is that they have learned to enjoy healthy eating. right?
Yeah.
It can, like, it's not that everybody enjoys a ton of vegetables or whatever, but you learn to enjoy it. Like, I miss my vegetables if I don't get them, if I don't get a certain amount in every day. I miss that. And when you don't eat healthy for a couple meals, for whatever reason, you could be traveling, you could be on the road all day doing something, and then you'll notice your digestion's off.
Oh, God,
your energy sucks, right? Maybe you're constipated now for 2 days. Maybe you're noticing your skin feels drier or you're starting to break out. So I think, that's another huge trait that I have definitely seen is that people that have committed to this healthy, fit lifestyle have also learned to enjoy eating healthy foods.
And also, my daughter's having this issue right now where she like eats a lot of food. And then she's like, oh my God, Mom, my tummy hurts so much. Like, I ate so much. And I'm like, I know, but honey, why do you keep doing that? Like, I want you to go right now. I want you to snapshot this feeling that you feel right now and remember it the next time that you start eating. Remember, it's not like she's like binge eating. It's just like she'll just eat at dinner and then it's either she's eating too fast or whatever. And I think they're just learning their body, right? But it's like, remember that feeling when you eat something that doesn't feel good and your tummy hurts and you have indigestion or you can't sleep or you have a headache. Then try to remember those feelings when you've done that, and then the next time try to put yourself in that and be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again because it didn't feel good when I did that. It's not worth it now to me to be like to have indigestion and not sleep because I had something that like really super upset my stomach. So I think learning to eat healthy and then also remembering like what it feels like when you don't and be like, sometimes I'm willing to like have a headache the next day if we go out for sushi. Sushi's a big one because it's so high in salt. The next day I'm so thirsty all night. I'm thirsty and the next morning I wake up with a headache and all under my eyes is always puffy.
Oh wow.
Because there's so much salt in soy sauce, right?
Yes.
So I think for me that's just like every once in a while I'll be like, no, but it's fine. I know how I'm going to feel tomorrow and I'm accepting it, but I don't want to do that all the time, right? So it's just like,
Yep. And then that's exactly as you said, right? When you do kind of go off and eat those foods that maybe your system doesn't totally agree with, your body now tells you, we do not like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's signaling you.
Yeah.
Most people just don't listen.
They just don't, they ignore it. And then, the other thing is too, is that not only like are you training for quality of life, but for your mental health as well, right? A lot of people have referred to the gym sometimes as their safe place where they can go to get out all of their stress, emotions, frustrations in like a safe, controlled way. Some people even called it like the gym is their church. Like that's just where they need to go. So I think, that's another comment. I know that's definitely true for me. That's my time. Don't bother me during that time unless it's an emergency, right? Yeah. Because that's just when I can completely zone out, focus on what I'm doing before I have to get back and, focus on clients or the family or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, and I posted something similar the other day about it being my therapy and my place and where I feel empowered and where I get my ideas and where I get my energy. If I tap into my energy. And so many people were like messaging me back and yes, it's so that for me too. And I was watching this funny reel on TikTok. It's like this woman's walking up to the weight machine and she's walking into the gym and there's sounds in her head, all these things. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. She opens the gym door and it all shuts off. And I was like, because I used to be able to do that and my gym would be like, I don't worry about anything. I just shut my brain off. Now I feel like I have so many things going on at this point in my life that I'm like still thinking about things when I'm there.
Yeah.
But if you can really get into your zone and then just focus on this is my self-care time. This is for me. But that is the place where you sweat out cortisol. Like you actually can change your cortisol levels, your stress levels, your everything from being at the gym. And as we know, like if you could make a pill for the hormones that are released after exercise, the happy hormones, then people would totally buy it, right?
Those endorphins,
the endorphins after your workout, it's like so amazing, right? It's like this high that you can't.
And sometimes too, like when you're at the gym and you've got problems going on or something that you're trying to solve, I'm gonna say probably 8 times out of 10 I can come up with a solution. Right? Because I've increased oxygen.
You're calm.
Yeah, you're calm. You've increased oxygen flow to your brain, and you can really sometimes problem solve. Again, my brain doesn't fully shut off when I train, but again, you can get a lot of problem solving done. Right?
And it's funny when it's the gym people, because I've heard it from a lot of people when I'm like, when people are stressed out, when things are bugging them, their husband or wife will be like, just go to the gym.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I will. I need to go because just go. Like,
even if it's
know.
just like going out for a walk and getting out with some fresh air, the sunshine, even that can be enough. It doesn't necessarily even have to be going to the gym.
No. But when that's your thing, I'm like, they're just like, or I just remember in my marriage being like, do you need to go to the gym? When you're grumpy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely therapy for people, and mental health definitely comes into. I mean, as we know, mental health is so affected by blood flow and moving things around your body and getting oxygen in. So whatever way that is, it's going to help increase your mental health and
100%
well-being.
Yeah, and then sort of like a spin-off of, people that, are kind of committed to this particular lifestyle. Not only do they enjoy eating healthy foods, but they've also learned how to cook, how to meal prep, how to think ahead with their foods, right? And they're not caught, not knowing what they're going to have, and then, ended up ordering in, whatever the case might be. Right?
1,000%. I have like 5 moms contacting me lately being like, I need you to help me with a meal plan. I need to help with this, because that is their biggest struggle. They're like all day long, they don't have
there's nothing pre-planned.
There's nothing pre-planned. So just fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
If I was flying by the seat of my pants, I'd be screwed. And even now I have a solid meal plan that I follow. And even now I get caught off guard sometimes because I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any chicken. Okay, well, I'll just have beef, or I'll just have whatever. And I can fly off the seat of my pants, but I've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah. So I can do that. But it's very hard for people to incorporate a new habit like that, especially when it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes attention.
It does. It takes a lot of practice, for sure. And I know, like, when I don't have vegetables cooked and ready to go, when I don't have chicken, ground beef, ground turkey, shrimp, whatever the case might be, like, in the fridge ready to go, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta meal prep. I gotta get some food into my fridge, right? So then it's there. And because same thing, like, if I were to just get up, get on with my day, and not even think about what's going to be for dinner that night, I'd be up a creek. Like,
me too.
It would not be good.
It would not. Like, no. I can think about waking. Like, it was a joke before. Like, how do you know what you're eating every single day? Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, how do you not? Like, I can't wake up. And it's like a woman's brain. Like, how does a man or another person wake up on a Saturday morning and not know what they're doing all day? I'm like, I have my day planned in 20-minute increments the whole day until 10 o'clock at night. I was like, but that's another thing I think that I've seen with a lot of fitness people, or people that really are successful in something like health and fitness stuff, is that they really are those people that like schedule and structure. Like, we like that. Like, that's something that drives me. That's something that keeps me motivated. That's something that when I get out of that kind of routine and structure, I feel really like wobbly a little bit, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall off this bridge. Like, and I could see how you could just spiral so fast, and it would be so easy to just
because it's so easy in our society to just order, like, skip the dishes or Uber Eats, like, and then it's here in like 20 minutes, and you haven't had to do anything. But at the same time, you've given all of your control away to the quality of the food, how the food was prepped, how the food was cooked. And for me, it's not worth it. So I like to know, I like to buy my own food. I like to cook it so that it's prepared how I want it prepared. And it's not full of added fats or sugars or salts. It's just got what it needs. It's seasoned just to how I like it.
Yeah. I think
right?
Most people I know that are really successful and have a physique that they are proud of, or that they feel good in their skin.
Yeah.
That they have some sort of a plan. It might not be rigid, but they have some sort of meals that they usually stick to, or macros that they count, or certain things.
And they don't get caught up in the latest and greatest fad
1,000%
diet that's coming in, right? Like they stick to the basics. Like training in nutrition is super basic. And that's what makes it boring. Right?
So
it is.
boring.
Like it's boring, right? And so, us as fitness professionals, in order to kind of get people and the ball rolling, sometimes we have to make it a little bit more exciting. But the basics are always there in the back end.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's sort of like another trait, is that they stick to the basics. They stick to what works for them and their bodies, because they've taken the time to find and figure out what foods work best for them, what foods make them feel the best, perform the best, sleep the best, have the greatest energy during the day. And that's sometimes a trial and error. Like I know 2 years ago I had food testing done because I knew something was wrong and I couldn't pinpoint what the foods were. So I went and had blood work done to try and figure that out. And I'm like, okay. So then some of the foods that were kind of considered cautionary, I backed off on. Just don't have those every day. And then the foods that were like, your body really does not like these foods, right? If I'm going to eat them, then I know that I'm going to be bloated, I'm going to be tired, and my energy is not going to be quite so great. So if I'm willing to, be okay with that, then great. If I'm not, then stay away from it.
Right.
But I've taken the time to learn that knowledge.
Yeah, and it does. It takes time and it takes intention, and it's not just somebody giving you a meal plan. And that those meal plans are going to be super basic, right? But what we have come to realize after so many years of doing this is ways to incorporate different ways of cooking things. So like to make it interesting, to make it taste better, to make it like all those things. It's not just like chicken, rice, vegetables. Like that's what I used to have when I was competing. And now I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you can add garlic, you can add fresh herbs, you can add so many things and grill it differently. Yes. And hallelujah, the air fryer.
Oh my goodness, that was a
oh my god, praise my life. Like I seriously,
it doesn't leave my counter.
And no, and you have the double one, which I feel like I could use the double one plus my small one, because then you could do chicken, you could do your vegetables, you could do potatoes, but like the sweet potatoes from that thing, I'm like, oh my god,
so good.
I like. So,
and done. Like I can put it in.
I know.
And set it and forget it. Like I can set it and go off and do something completely different, and I don't have to worry about it burning in the oven.
Yeah, I know.
It's awesome.
It is. What's set it and forget it from? What's that from?
It was from George Foreman.
Oh yeah, because I was like, what's that from? Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the George Foreman. I remember that because I used to bring that to hotel rooms with us to grill my chicken when we traveled. So ridiculous. But yeah, I loved the George Foreman. That was fun. But yeah, the air fryer. So like just different ways of cooking things and adding flavor to things. And yeah, it's boring, the basics, but you can upgrade them.
100%. Right? And that just, again, takes time and practice and just playing around with different spices and herbs with your food.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think another thing is too with people is that as we age, we are better at accepting the aging process. Right? Like, so as I get closer to 50, I'm like, right now I'm doing better at 48 than I was at 38. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm okay with how things are going.
Yeah. We get wiser and we're more able to accept our bodies, right? And what they've done for us and what they like continue to do for us. I think when we're younger, there's like this idea of like my 12-year-old right now, nothing looks good on her that she puts on. Nothing. Everything looks terrible on me. And I'm like, oh my God, are we starting this already? And like, you're tall and you're thin and you're gorgeous.
Know she is.
And I'm like, what? Like putting clothes on. And I'm just like, oh man, if I could just go back to my 12-year-old self and be like, none of it matters. Like, your body, and like I said to her, your heart and your soul is so important, and how you feel and what you believe in. And I'm like, that's just a capsule of what all of your stuff is in. So all the beautiful things that are in this capsule around it, like, don't look at the thing that's around it. Look at, like, really focus on what's inside. And she's just like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Yeah, again, easier said than done, especially for a 12-year-old. But
totally. Yeah.
But at least you're getting that thought. You're planting that seed in her head.
Yeah, like a little bit. Like, just don't focus so much on that being everything. And maybe then, again, just like find clothes that you feel comfortable in and that you feel pretty in, right? Don't try to wear things that you don't feel good in, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, accepting yourself like the way you are, and that you're aging, and that you're pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, and again, like, just knowing that, you know, as I get older, I have to pay more attention to how I train, right? To make sure that I don't get injured, that I put a little bit more focus on mobility and stretching, and making sure that nothing gets too tight or too tightly wound, shoulders, hips, knees, because, right, like, the goal is just to stay consistent for life. It's not to just go balls to the walls every single time and then end up with an injury that may set me back. But as you and I know, we work around our injuries to keep going. Yeah. Right? Like, that's, again, and I think that's something else. Like, we could be injured. You had back problems, right? I've done stuff with a knee. I've done stuff with a shoulder. And it didn't stop my training. I just had to revamp how I trained.
Yeah, I don't stop.
Whereas I think for a lot of people, that can be a reason to stop.
1,000%. Yeah, and we've talked about that before, right? Like, keep walking, keep going, keep doing. Yeah. And that will actually help.
Yeah, so being able to adapt workouts around life circumstances. It doesn't necessarily have to be an injury either. It could be all of a sudden now you've had your first baby in the family, or you've had a massive career change. So different things like that, and being able to navigate those life circumstances and keep going, right? Adapting.
And I was thinking about that the other day about COVID, and being like, oh my God, like, because now I go to the gym every day, which is amazing. I get out of my house, I get out of my space, and I move. But during COVID and lockdown, I worked out in the basement, or I worked out in this living room. And I just think to myself, man, I still kept going, because you know what? I got up every day, and I wasn't going to break that promise to myself. And it was just something that is ingrained in me that I just did. It wasn't an option. Yeah. It just wasn't an option. But I get that some people aren't there, right? I get that some people, it's hard for them. Some people hate exercise. Some people don't like to do it, right?
No, they don't.
So it's like finding your happy place, right? It doesn't have to be the way everybody else does it. Like, go swimming is fantastic. Go swim laps, or go do Zumba, or go dance, or whatever. Do whatever you want to do, but find that thing that doesn't make you like have to think about it and have to groan about it and be like,
you do have to enjoy whatever type of movement is, whatever the type of movement is.
Yeah, you have to,
right? Like, if you absolutely hate lifting weights, then don't lift weights.
Yeah, right.
Right, but as you said, there's a million other things that you can do, but you got to find what that is.
Yeah, because your body will reject the weights because you hate it already.
Well, because you've already told, like, your mind will determine what's going to happen, right? True or false. Right? What you think is what will become. So if you keep telling yourself, I hate lifting weights, and then you go to the gym to lift weights, you're going to hate it because you've been telling yourself that story for months, years, whatever the case might be.
And I feel like I have to change my mindset, because I did post the thing the other day about the complaining and excuses, and he's like, isn't that the same thing? It just ends you up in the same place. Like, you complain about something or you make an excuse about something, because I'm like, I'm at the gym, I'm not I'm not making an excuse. I'm here. I'm just complaining. And he's like, isn't that end you up in the same place? I'm like, yeah, because it's negative. So I'm like, when I say homeschooling's hard, when this point in my life right now is hard, I'm making it harder because I'm saying it and I'm justifying it to myself that it's hard.
Yeah.
So I had a friend that would always call me on that beat, like, every time you say that, you're making it hard because you're stating that it's hard.
Yeah.
Stop saying that it's hard and just say, like, I'm a work in progress, or today was a little bit rough, but tomorrow's gonna be better. So I was like, I really have to work on what's coming out of my mouth, because even though sometimes I joke around, complain, it's still a negative comment, right? So I think our mind does hear what we say, and we have to be super careful about how we, like, talk about, I hate weights, it's the most terrible thing ever, or I'm just not really in love with the idea of doing weights. I don't really like them because of whatever, but I can, like, certain exercises I like, and I also really want to build lean muscle mass, so this weights might be the only option to do, so why don't I just give it a try, you know?
Or,
like,
yeah, or again, you find ways to use your body as your dumbbell or barbell. Use your body weight and start there.
Or children, you can walking lunge with children on
Oh
your back.
heavens, yes.
I've done that before.
Bear hug your dog on your chest and just off you go.
Oh god, yeah.
You know, but, like, you know, you do a wall sit for 1 minute. You can't tell me that you're not going to feel your legs.
Yeah.
Right? Hold a plank for 1 minute. You're going to feel that.
Yeah.
So there's ways around that for sure. But yeah.
But the way we talk, I think, don't say you hate it, just say you are thankful and grateful you get to do it.
Yeah. So I think those are some traits that you've seen, I've seen, you've heard, I've heard, you know, and that's what has allowed you and I and a bunch of people that we know to live this healthy lifestyle 10, 15, 20 plus years, right?
Yep. It's just non-negotiable.
It's a non-negotiable. And I think that is the perfect place to end. Thanks everybody for listening today, and we truly appreciate you. And let us know what your biggest takeaway was today, and if you have any questions you want answered on the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to automatically receive your episodes and to help us reach more listeners. We would love to connect with you on our socials, either Facebook or Instagram, with links in the show notes. Till next time, keep taking those small steps towards your best life.